You're listening to the Snob OS podcast, the podcast for Apple snobs. Hey, this is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
Yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech.
And welcome to the Snob OS show, the show for Apple snobs where we talk all things Apple and then some. Welcome back, everybody. We want to thank you for tuning into this week's show. We have a lot to talk about this week. It seems as if it's been a lot going on in the tech world, particularly in the Apple space. And also in the social media space. So we're definitely going to talk about that. And again, thank you for tuning in. If you want to become a Patreon supporter, you can head on over to patreon.com/snobos to find out how. You can also listen and or watch our show. You can also rate and review it on your major platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. So definitely, if you're whatever platform you're looking on, listening to or watching at, just give us a quick thumbs up, 5 stars, or leave us a quick comment. We will definitely appreciate it. All right. With that being said, we're going to jump into the show. We're going to kick it off with our first segment, The Lowdown, where we talk all things Apple. So we are, 4 weeks into the new year, and we already have an Apple new product launch. Apple launched AirTags 2. And I want to say that was one of my predictions. So I think I'm winning at that already. I'm kind of excited. I forgot to check, but I think I am. But nearly 5 years after the original AirTag was launched, which everybody absolutely loves, Apple just announced this week AirTag 2, like I said, this week on the 26th, that would have been on Monday, with some meaningful upgrades. It includes 50% better range for precision finding, a speaker that's twice as loud as the original, and also Apple Watch support for tracking. So again, with the better range, this comes courtesy of a second generation ultra wideband chip. It's the same that's in the iPhone 17 that extends the precision finding range, like I said before, by 50%. It's upgraded to Bluetooth, increases overall location range, and a redesigned speaker that is, again, 50% louder. And the audible is from 2.5 times further away than it was. Same price, $29.99, available now. And the $29 said $29.99. You should add 99 cents, but $29 is for a single AirTag, or you can get the bundle of 4 for $99. Again, no change in the price. I think they're slightly larger. This price includes, of course, if you get it from Apple, free engraving. This starts to ship later this week, but again, you can buy it now.
All right.
So.
No, I was going to say I'm definitely interested in trying out the Apple Watch feature to see how good it is on the Apple Watch, because you're wearing your Apple Watch all the time. It makes sense to where if you're trying to locate an AirTag or the stuff that the AirTag is in on the inside of, being able to do it on your watch. Definitely an added feature. We'll see how better, 50% better and 2 times louder. You mentioned the AirTag is bigger than the previous one.
I think the first one is like 11. I'm trying to figure out what the weight is. I remember seeing a graphic. It's 11, and then the old one is 11, and the new one is like 11.8.
As far as diameter?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but I'm definitely interested. We are taking a trip in the next couple weeks, so I'll probably pick some of these up just to, if anything,
test them out.
find out what's the difference. Is it better, or is Apple just blowing smoke?
Right. And I have to also say that in the article that I'm reading, I think it was from 9 to 5 Mac, it says that it features a quote industry first protections against unwanted tracking with cross-platform alerts. If you remember, one of the initial issues with AirTags is that people were popping them onto people's cars. They were trying to follow or stalk or track. And one of the things that they did initially was basically, if there's an AirTag with you, you'll get an alert saying, hey, there's an AirTag traveling with you that is not in your Find My. So you may want to look into that. And also, it sounds like this cross-platform alerts goes not only for Apple devices, but Android devices. And I'm interested to see how that works, or if I'm just misreading what cross-platform alerts mean.
Well, like if you have an Android and there is an AirTag traveling with you, you'll be able to use your Android and be like, no, this ain't mine, or it'll help you. If I've lost my AirTag and you happen to find it with an Android, you'll be able to communicate with me via the cross-platform.
Yeah. So same as if there's an unknown AirTag following with you and you have an iPhone. That's what I assumed it meant, but I wasn't 100% sure. But that sounds about right. But again, one of the biggest features is it's the same price. You get some better features, but you don't get an uptick in price. So we can always be yes on that, trying to save people a little bit of coin when it comes to new devices. Up next, not saving you money, but costing you money. Apple Cash is making instant transfers more expensive in the near future. Like Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, or any of the other I guess, pay site. I don't even know what you call these things. Money transfer apps. Apple's going to come for a little bit more of that money when it comes to instant transfers. Starting February 18th, instant Apple Cash transfers are getting pricier with both the fee percentage and with the maximum cap going up. So on the fee increase that's coming, the instant transfer fee goes from 1.5% to 7.5%, with the maximum cap rising from a minimum of from $15 to $25. So this is one of the things where typically if someone transfers you money, or you transferring someone money and you're trying to get it out of PayPal or Venmo, and in this case, Apple Pay or Apple Cash, you're trying to get it, say, to your bank. If you want to do it instantly, you're typically charged a fee. That fee is going up. The standard non-fee is if you ship it or transfer it standard, meaning 1 to 3 business days, they typically say. But they're going up on the price a little bit, and it's really unfortunate because a lot of times when people take the option to do the instant transfer, it's because they really need whatever their buddy is, and now Apple is taking a slightly larger chunk of that.
Yeah. I've never been one of those people that needed the money that bad. But for those who do, and who use Apple Cash a lot, I could see how this is probably not helping. But again, all of them are doing it. So I don't know if this is Apple just following along with, like you said, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, or I believe, conspiracy theory, they all get together and say, all right, we need some more profits. You do it to this much, and then you do it, and then you do it, and then Apple's the last one to do it. But they all kind of handshake, decided that they were going to up
conspiratorial. They get together and they make these decisions.
That's me talking, but you know, it probably doesn't hold any sort of water. But it just feels like everybody is in your pockets, and they're just running it up and just seeing how much we'll take.
How much you're willing to give.
We keep taking it, and we keep taking it. Eventually,
they're going to hit a wall.
Well, personally, as a person, everything's getting more expensive.
Yes.
Nothing is getting cheaper. There's nothing on earth right now. Just like, you know what? 5 years from now, home loans are going to be cheaper. 5 years from now, car loans are going to be cheaper. Hell, 5 years from now, it's not not that I'm upset that it's going up, but it's not going up with people's jobs.
Right.
It's where our raises are not matching inflation, and everybody is just from streaming services to everything to, in this case, taking money that is yours and moving it to another account costs money. And now it costs more.
It costs you your own money to
Right.
use your own money.
Eventually, people are going to have to start making business decisions. And, I don't know if one person, it may be, I'm not spending that much in groceries no more. Somebody else will say, I cannot afford all these streaming services anymore. Some people are going to say, but it's going to start with just one or two people, but then eventually companies are going to start noticing that people are not buying things simply because we cannot afford them. And I just hope that I actually am looking forward to a time to where people are not just are watching their pockets a little bit closer, because I think a lot of us get into well, I got it. So as long as at the end of every 2 weeks or at the end of the month, I got more money than I spent, I'm okay. Right. But at the same time, it's like, eventually you're not going to be spending more money than you're making. And it's like, I hope people can get that before it like hits, like I'm about to be kicked out of my house.
Yeah.
Because 5 years ago, I didn't cut off some of these streaming services or.
You know what I have to say? Like, I think it was maybe a couple weeks ago. I was looking at my bank account and they give you like the snapshot of things that you pay for recurring. And I looked at the number and I'm like, what the hell? What am I paying for? And I went through and I honestly stopped. I started with my Apple subscriptions and I went in there and I started like removing stuff. Like I'm one of the people who didn't cut the cord.
Okay.
And a lot of the streaming services now, they come through my cable. So I had like a Hulu, ESPN, Disney Plus bundle. So I went in and I unsubscribed to my Hulu because I believe I can get Hulu through my cable. I think I just have to sign in with my cable login. And so I unsubscribed to that. And, I was in my bank. I'm not one who checks my bank account like all the time, but I was in there looking for something specific. And I saw that. So this is for the subscription that starts it's a monthly, right? So my February subscription, it said, that's expiring, you won't be charged. I look at my bank account. Apple had already taken it out in January, even though it said it was expiring. And then I saw the Disney price coming out. And I was like, wait a minute, I canceled these. So I actually had to go in and log into my Disney account and unsubscribe there as well, because they charged me twice. Once for the Hulu and then
for the package.
Once for the Disney Plus that has
the Hulu
and the ESPN in it. So they've already charged me, but I've already canceled it. But this was for February. So how are you charging me something when you know that I'm not renewing it? So I'm going to go back and check to see if I get refunded, or because it was sitting in like the pending section. So my assumption was this is what it normally does. Right. And it's like just kind of waiting until it's time. But I'm going to have to go back and check, because I noticed that I got an email, you get the Apple receipt emails. And I looked at it. I happened to look at it. I'm like, wait a minute. I know I canceled this. And I was like, let me go look at my subscriptions. And sure enough, it said, yeah, this is expiring XYZ, whatever date. And I was like, this is really strange. And it's just one of those things where you're just so used to it coming out, you don't really even pay attention until you go to cancel something, or you go to see how much crap that you are subscribed to. And I'm like, I'm basically paying for Hulu twice, even though I don't have two different instances of Hulu. I have my Hulu subscription through Apple, but then I have it through this Disney Plus bundle as well.
Yeah, because they was trying to get people to not subscribe through Apple and subscribe on the Disney and the Hulu website, so they don't have to pay the commissions to Apple. So I'm pretty sure maybe a lot of people probably got caught up in the, you've got this ongoing subscription, and then you see a email or you see a coupon or you see a whatever the case may be, and let me go ahead and sign up. And then they ain't gonna not say, hey, are you sure you want to do
already
that?
got an account, right?
So they're gonna go ahead and charge you. So
and it's like being double billed for the same thing. And I was like, wait a minute, how long has this been going on? And I'm thinking months. And I'm like, now the price is up to like basically $20. I think it's like $18.99. So that's like I'm paying $40 for a service that is supposed to only be like half of that. So all that to say, it's things where money is just always coming out. And things like this, even though it may seem small, it adds up, especially if you use, because you can get debit cards now through Cash App and PayPal and all these places. And people use this a lot, especially people who can't get traditional banking. They have no choice but to go to these types of sites for their money management. And you're just getting ripped off like left and right.
Well, so not for nothing, Cash App, because my kids, my oldest girls, use Cash App. They've got traditional bank accounts at like a credit union, and that's just like old school me. It's like you need a bank account.
You need a bank,
not just a bank, but you need a credit union.
Oh yeah,
bank, right? So I signed them up for that. But they use Cash App, and again, not for nothing, Cash App does and this is the caveat, if you are good with money, Cash App does a good job of being a bank. They've got the savings portion, they've got the regular Cash App portion that people use as a checking account, and then in their excuse me,
bless you,
in their savings, they've got all the typical things. If you spend money, you can round up, and if you round up, so if you buy something that's $3.40, you round it up to the nearest dollar, you take that 60 cents, they'll automatically put it in your savings.
Yeah.
And then in the savings, you can create buckets or like goals, not buckets, goals. You can say vacation. So you can set up a goal for vacation. You can put money there. So stuff like that. Cash App, I don't know about Venmo. I don't know about Venmo. I don't know about PayPal. I think PayPal may be doing something like that. But they do a good job of providing, and you can like buy and sell stocks. So my kids, I make them buy and sell stocks through Cash App. They use it for anytime they're sending each other money, and they use a little debit card. So on its face,
it has a purpose and it serves it.
Only if you are good with money. If you are not good with money, these things,
it don't matter what you go to, whether it's a traditional bank or something like Cash App. If you're not good with money,
they will fleece
the medium
you.
is not going to help you.
They will fleece you. Me and my wife have a business account with a bank, and if you slip just a little bit and you're not really checking it, because we ain't no conglomerate business, anything like that. We just open up a business account because it's like, oh, at this time they was having a promo, yada yada yada. We'll open up a business account. You miss one payment, I mean, they will get you. And I can imagine you already being tight on money, right? And you forget to make a payment, or you forget this account exists, or
forget making a deposit because you get charged fees if you don't meet the minimum requirements not to get the service fee.
Right. And that's what'll happen is you got to keep a certain amount of money in there. And if you don't keep a certain amount of money in there, they'll hit you with service fee. Yeah. Service fee. You look in 3 months later, you got $75 worth of service fees.
You're like, wait a minute.
And on top of that, you ain't got $75 to play with.
Right.
So now you're behind, and these come and they waiting. So it's like we got to do a better job with getting good with money. And the best way you can do that is you've got to know what's going in and what's going out. And
you have to know what your counts are. You have to know what the limits and the prerequisites are, because they change based on the type of account it is and all these things. And again, those service fees, they come out like clockwork. And if you're not paying attention, you miss them until it's really adding up. You're like, wait a minute, I thought I had $100 in this account. Why I only got 50? I haven't done anything with it. You go and look, and you see all these service fees because you were dropped below a certain limit, or you didn't do a deposit, or whatever the case may be. So, like you said,
Got to stay on
prices are
top of it.
rising,
And
and
they in your pocket.
salaries is not catching up, and everybody is in your pocket trying to get their little piece.
Yep.
It's a shame. Truly a shame. Especially, did you see, tangent, Amazon laid off another 15,000 people today?
Oh, 15,000?
15,000 from their corporate space.
And then later on this year or next quarter, they'll be like, earnings. We made so much money. It's like,
We
no,
are $5 billion richer.
you ain't made no more money. You saved yourself some money by firing
Stop
people.
paying people and making the other people pick up their slack and do the work. It's a shame. All right. This next section I'm calling Rumor Has It, because, over here at Snob OS, how we feel about rumors, we don't really like to give them too much air, but we're going to do that today because there are a couple different things that came up and I was like, interesting. First up, and the rumor has a quick case. I just want to get your thought on, do you think this rumor is trending yes, or do you think this rumor is trending no? All right. First up, Apple unveils its Google Gemini partnership last week. And we talked about this last week. But now they're saying Bloomberg, Mark Gurman and his inside knowledge. He's saying that Apple's Gemini powered Siri feature is launching officially in iOS 26.4 beta as soon as next month, with Apple planning a public demonstration late in February. So this is about 2 years since we had the whole Apple Intelligence conversation. Could we finally be getting the Apple Intelligence? I like to call it Siri Intelligence because it's Siri focused, that we were promised 2 years ago. Do you think this is what they have baking and that we'll see it this soon?
If we do, Apple is down bad, and they are really scrambling to make up for the mess that was Apple Intelligence, right? I don't want to believe that's the case because I believe that Apple's like, we can wait until June when WWDC we announce all the little software stuff. We can wait until then. If they can't, then it was bad. It was worse than we thought it was going to be. That for them just out of the blue, like, look, Apple Intelligence, and it's just March. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they just, like I said, this partnership was just announced last week. We just talked about it last week, and now they're saying we're going to see it next month in late February. So pretty much a month to the date that the partnership was announced, we're going to see the usage of that, the demonstration. They can't even wait until the spring announcement that they usually do in March. This is, oh no, Apple might be down bad. Might be down bad. Next up on Rumor Has It, HomePad. Looks like it's getting some encouragement on a potential launch. Back in 2025, we just had the prediction show earlier this month. I predicted that we would see something like this. And then I actually added it as a holdover to this year because I thought, something like this was coming. Well, it just might be actually more than a prediction. It might actually be getting legs. So Apple's rumored HomePad or HomePod Touch, that's the name that's kind of been floating around, home device with a small display, speakers, and AI features, is now expected to launch this spring. The device was originally planned for March 2025. That I didn't know. I wish it had launched because then that would have made my predictions better. But I digress. But apparently it got delayed when the Siri upgrades were postponed. I'm thinking that was partially due to Apple Intelligence. Now that Apple, as we just mentioned, has this partnership with Google's Gemini, they're saying that in iOS 26.4, we are going to see this HomePad or HomePod Touch in the spring. So it looks like what I'm calling the rumorers, both Mark Gurman and where we're getting this information from, the information might be in agreement. So that's kind of like two big rumorers on the same wave, with one key difference. Mark Gurman, well, the information where we got this, the information is a website that mentioned that the HomePad has a robotic swiveling base. Mark Gurman says he doesn't believe that part. He believes that is a separate product that's coming from Apple. Do you buy that we are getting this HomePad in the spring?
In the spring, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They've been talking about this HomePad thing forever. It's almost like trying to make fetch happen, and I don't believe it. I don't see a serious enough use case for something like this when you've got an iPad and you've got an iPhone, and even a Mac to a certain extent can control or stream music, media, content, whatever, to a HomePod. I think the HomePod is better without some sort of screen to rival that of like a Sonos. They ain't got screens on it to rival some of these other home audio systems that don't have a interface. You know, you got to stream to it from the TV, or you got to stream to it from a personal device like a laptop, a phone, tablet, things of that nature. I don't see Apple releasing this product. I could be wrong. That's just going to be my hot take. I don't see them adding any sort of interface, because if you look at the Google Home or the Nest Home or whatever you call them, I don't know if those are selling like gangbusters. Again, I'm not a Google Nest person, so I ain't look at no facts or figures or anything like that. But I don't see people saying, you know what I really, really want is that Google Home or that Google Nest Home with the touchpad. People just do it off their phones.
Yeah. So I have to say, because this was one of my predictions, I am more inclined to believe that this is coming. My only concern with it is, and the reason that I think that it is a thing is because this would be a dedicated device that controls all the things in the house.
Okay.
And so it's dedicated specifically. To me, it puts me kind of in the mind of an alarm system.
Okay.
When you have like the keypad, you know, when you come into from the garage, you have the keypad in the main bedroom. To me, it gives dedicated device that manages all of the interconnected devices in the house in one spot. Leave it there. That's where you go when you're trying to manage something like that. So that's my reason why I think it is a thing. The thing that gives me pause is similar to what we talked about earlier in the lowdown. People are running out of money, and people are going to start making decisions. Do you want me to buy this HomePad, or do you want me to buy this iPhone?
Right.
I can't buy both of them.
Right.
I'm not going to buy both of them.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
what you want to do?
Right.
What do you want me to do? What's your focus? And it seems to me this kind of steers the focus from what Apple is trying to do, I guess, for the sake of innovation.
That makes sense.
All right, last up. This is so annoying, but we're going to talk about it. Apple is reportedly working on an AI-powered wearable pen. They're apparently developing an AirTag-sized AI wearable pen that could launch as early as 2027, featuring dual cameras, 3 microphones, a speaker, and magnetic charging. AirTag-sized aluminum and glass disc with standard and wide-angle cameras to capture surroundings. Allegedly, it's in development in the very, very early stages and still could be canceled. If this is really a thing, it probably is. And some are saying that Apple could be rushing to compete with a wearable that OpenAI is coming up with. Now, of all the things that we've talked about in Rumor Has It, this is the least one that I'm buying. It makes 0 sense. to fit something like this into the Apple ecosystem. Now, if I'm being a little selfish, back to my predictions count, I guess this would satisfy one of my predictions that Apple is coming up with something
New category.
completely new to the ecosystem. But I have to say, I'd be happy to be wrong about this one because this makes zero sense. I don't even see how this makes no sense to go into the Apple ecosystem.
Especially when the first two, the rabbit and this humane thing, failed miserably.
So bad.
I don't know if Apple's like, you know what? I think we can do better.
Let's jump on something else. We're already having such a bang up time with Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that. Maybe news is slow and they're trying to kick up some dust in the rumor mills. But this is why Snob OS does not deal in the rumor mills, because some of this stuff can be ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And of all of them, this pen, even when the first pen came out, that rabbit, I think it was orange, I was like, this is dumb. Why are you going to have this clip-on pen when you got your phone right in your hand? This is dumb.
And your watch on your arms and your AirPods in your ear.
Like, who's doing this? And then the humane people like, we can do it better. No, you can't. No. So that's going to wrap up not only the rumor has it section, but also the lowdown. We're going to head on over into second string where we talk all other tech. Well, the time has come. The US-ification of TikTok is complete as of this week. So what does this actually mean and what actually happened? I'm sure everybody remembers the long saga, the whole Congress and
Won't they?
Will they, won't they, completely removing TikTok from the store. It's China is bad. The only way that we can allow it in America is if Americans own it. Well, officially TikTok, parentheses, US, is officially American owned only for US users. But the algorithm that made it so popular is getting a complete do-over. So the algorithm that you're used to from TikTok, from the original TikTok, TikTok proper, if you will, TikTok US, TikTok MAGA, is not going to be the same thing. So your experience is going to be different.
So why'd you say TikTok MAGA?
Because the people that own it are Trump sycophants. They are in his bubble. I don't think I included the link, but there's an article from Ars Technica that he was like, it's great. I'm happy that it's here.
Sure.
It has a board now. And the board, I think, is two former TikTok employees. One's a CEO and one's like the operations person. There's one person that's not American that sits on the board, and it's the person who owns ByteDance. It's the guy who owns this. And they're calling it TikTok USDS. USDS is US Digital Service Joint Venture LLC. And it's now US majority owned, as I said. This new company was established to comply with the executive order that this
Congress
current administration signed off on. Serving over 200 million people because they said it was dangerous. They're going to steal your information. They're infiltrating America. Well, I think one of the majority owners is the person who owns Oracle. I think is Larry Ellison, who also just bought CBS, Paramount, who also is trying to buy, trying to steal, what's the other big one that they're in the big battle with Netflix to buy?
Discovery?
Yes, Warner Brothers Discovery. Yes, they're trying to buy that as well. So the guy who owns all of that already is now trying to grab more things, and I think is serving a larger purpose that is not going to be good. So all that says it's going to be housed, obviously, on Oracle servers. Surprise, surprise. But again, the thing that made TikTok so popular was the algorithm. Now the algorithm is being retrained from scratch, from US data only. So basically, the way that you see on your For You page or when you're doing this continuous scrolling, the content recommendation system, the system that feeds videos into your main screen, that's going to be rebuilt only based on American data. I'm a little, I use air quotes for those of you who can't see it. I'm not sure what this American data is. But we've seen some of the censorship, some of the angles, especially with, like a CBS News or with CNN, how they've skewed and changed based on who owns them. So that's the first part of this whole conversation. Thoughts?
So what, in addition to, well, not in addition to, the things that I saw coming out of people who were skeptical about TikTok prior to the United States deciding they needed to split it up was not necessarily, or in addition to China is stealing all our data and this and that and the third, it was more of the type of content that the algorithm is serving US users is different and sometimes more argumentative. That's not the word I'm looking for. More
Divisive?
controversial. Yeah, that's the word. It was more divisive than the TikTok algorithm from other countries.
Everybody else.
Not just China, Europe, Australia, wherever. The algorithm was feed us more vitriol, more divisiveness, right? More so, if not in addition to, China stealing our data. I don't think regular people were concerned about China stealing our data.
No.
They were more concerned about the type of content the algorithm was serving us specifically. So you could say that the algorithm now being rechained based on US data could mean that we could get different feeds that may not be so divisive. But if you look at who is running the algorithm, like you mentioned, Larry Ellison, who is a friend, colleague / business partner of the United States government, more specifically Donald Trump, you add that with how some of these other tech billionaires are buying media.
Technocrats, I think is what they're calling them.
Are buying media properties. You look at Bezos with the Washington Post. You look at Larry Ellison now with TikTok and, like you said, all the other media, CBS and Discovery and all those things. You look at Elon Musk getting X. They have decided, or there is some sort of meeting that's happening to where they're like, we need to control these media outlets. For what reason? I mean, you can do the math, right? So in addition to, or a negative consequence of us believing that China was feeding us this algorithm that was more divisive, right? The negative of now the US has the algorithm is the US has the algorithm now. So with all these, technocrats buying up these media properties, how better is the algorithm going to be just for US users? You ain't gotta work hard to decide with Trump owning Truth Social. I didn't even mention that one. It same difference, same shit, different day, right?
Yeah.
So is TikTok going to be better? A lot of people are assuming it won't be. I assume it won't be. I deleted my TikTok account yesterday or the day before. I downloaded all my data and deleted TikTok because it's like, look, I don't even use TikTok that hard anyway. It's a lot going on over in TikTok. I can see for these young folks and they short attention spans and all the stuff that you can do. I'm like, I just want to see a feed of people that I follow. I don't need all this extra stuff, and it definitely adds to doom scrolling.
Yeah.
TikTok more so than any of them. And it's just like, I ain't, I'm out. On top of
Yeah.
In addition to this new news
Yeah.
that now United States owns TikTok, and I don't trust not just the government. I don't trust, the people who are running it to really stay, bipartisan, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term. The reason why they're buying it,
Is so that they can
right,
show people what they want them to see.
right, and you can see it,
And
and you can see it with CNN.
yeah,
They've kind of changed.
CBS is crazy.
You can kind of see the effects. So it's
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't you assume that's going to be the same over
Twitter.
TikTok? Right, right.
So this big change has happened. So how do you think it's going the first couple of days in? It's already hit a snag. Literally days after it was transferred over to U.S. ownership, a power outage at an American data center left users staring at broken feeds and reset algorithms. Apparently, according to TikTok US, they're blaming it on a data center outage. Tinfoil hat, there are some people who don't believe that's why it's broken.
Okay. What are people saying why they think it's broken?
So people are saying that they think it's a fundamental issue with the app itself.
Okay.
They're adding in some new features that people are really nervous about. So, on pretty much any of the apps, you can turn on geolocation, geotagging, and you can turn it off. Well, apparently, what the streets are saying is that you can turn it off, but it's still going to be on.
Oh.
And apparently it's giving a lot of people were giving it's operating like kind of like China in a sense where they control what you see, the access that they have to you and where you are when you're making these statements. So it's really given like, what's the word I'm looking for? Post-apocalyptic,
Okay.
watching people, scanning people. You don't have control over these controls. Your settings, things you could usually turn off and turn on or opt out of and opt into. You don't have access to that anymore. I mean, I guess you have access, but it doesn't really do anything. It's kind of like when you think of like little kids in a kitchen with a toy kitchen. They're turning the knobs and they think they're cooking and doing something, but they're not really changing anything.
Right.
They're not really doing anything. It's gonna be what it is gonna be. So they're saying that this is a disruption from the data center, but people aren't buying it. For that reason I just mentioned, and the fact that they now have ownership of it. And the biggest thing was when it's in American hands, it's going to be better than ever, and it's not going to have any issues. Now, granted, this was a huge shift, so glitches are to be expected. But I read another article that as of still yesterday, there were major outages, and people were not able to upload videos, not to see any of the content, not to be able to interact with any of the content. A lot of their videos had 0 users when they know that that's not the case. And a lot of people make a lot of money on TikTok. So this is messing with people's income who are influencers and content creators. And what's happened because of this is there seems to be a mass exodus similar to what happened with Twitter. And so there's this new app called Upscrolled.
Upscrolled. All right.
That has no censorship, that has now rocketed to the number 2 spot on the App Store and even crashed servers because of the amount of people who were leaving the app, primarily because people were saying they were seeing a lot of suppression of video suppression, particularly around ICE videos. And we haven't talked about it on our show, and I honestly hadn't mentioned it because just the nature of what's going on in Minnesota, and the tragedy that's going on over there and just the lawlessness that's going on. But a lot of people are saying that their content that they are posting about what's going on in Minnesota or in ICE,
Ooh,
about ICE in general, is
all right.
being suppressed. And some of the changes that I mentioned before, as it relates to privacy, a lot of those changes have people really, really kind of nervous. And apparently, TikTok app deletions jumped to 150% in 5 days following this $14 billion joint venture with Oracle and Trump folks.
And you can count me as one of them because, like I said, I canceled mine. It's like, you know what? This perfect time to cancel it because deactivate the account because I don't use it and I ain't got time to be trying to figure out what's next for TikTok. You know, if somebody send my kids, they send me a TikTok or something that's funny, I can open up on the web and I ain't got to
Yep.
log in to see the
Are you going to
TikTok.
see it on another social media app anyway? So it's just
Anyways,
like,
anyways, why am I duplicating efforts? I could
yeah.
just stay where I'm at and eventually it'll get here.
Yeah, I signed out, deleted the app, and said, I'm not on there like that anyway. But I
Mm-mm.
have to say, when I did open the app to go in and, do the stuff I need to do to get rid of it,
Mm-hmm.
my image was gone. My profile picture was gone.
Mm-hmm.
The followers that I had, it wasn't that many because, like I said, I never use it. That was down to zero.
Mm.
I only had a couple of videos, and the videos where the videos were was just blank with like
Oh.
the little play button. So I was like, yep, I already do. I need to be over here anyway. So this is
Right.
my
The sign.
further
Yeah.
cosign that I need to be out of here. But it sounds like people have found a place to go, and I saw a lot of people saying, y'all just let me know where y'all end up and I'll go over there too, because I think people are having flashbacks of what happened when people mass left Twitter.
But people be
Everybody was just disjointed in all over the
mhm.
places. Like, I'm trying to find my people, but I don't know where they are,
But you be
type
fake.
of thing.
People be faking the funk, and I'll tell you why. Because, and this is one of my things, not that a motto, but something that I believe. There are people who go to a party, and then there are party starters, right? The people who say, "Oh, I'm leaving. Just tell me where to go." Don't wait and to find out where the party is. To oh, the party's over. I heard this party's done. Let me go over this app and let me no pick a spot, pick somewhere to be,
And park there.
and set up camp, set up shop. You know, start your new identity based on whatever your interests are, whatever content you want to create, and wait and make it a place where people want to go. It's like
Yeah.
everybody's like sitting around waiting to see what is the app that's going to take over TikTok. Why would you wait? Just pick one. If up scrolled is it, go over there, set up shop, do your thing.
Yeah.
If I'm on Spill, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
more apps that I come off of, the more I go on Spill.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Spill is not, and this, for those who don't know, this is the black-owned social media app
The former black people at Twitter,
at
they
Twitter.
went and created Spill.
And no, it's not as popular as Instagram and TikTok and Threads and X. It's not. You're not going to be able to get over there and get 100,000 followers and they get brand deals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it ain't
It's a
gonna
peaceful place
happen.
to be.
Well, no, it ain't gonna happen until you come over here and do it. When
Yeah.
you come over here and do it, then it shoots up, and then brands say, "Oh, I see you
You
got."
gotta join the party.
You got to start the party, is what I'm saying. You can't wait for the party to be jumping, and then like, because that's what
Oh,
people
this
do.
party's lit. Let me go over here.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, especially if you're trying to get on the ground level. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, why is everybody waiting around to find out what app is going to supplant TikTok? Go find one and
Yeah.
just be over
And
there
start using it.
and find your people and tell
Yeah.
people about it. Share.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's like nobody wants to fall on the sword of being the first person at the party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to help set up.
Yeah. And it's interesting with Upscrolled that everybody's kind of going over to. It's interesting. The person who developed it, it's an entrepreneur named Azam Hijazi, who is Palestinian Australian.
Oh,
And we seen, all the controversy
sure.
around Palestine
In Israel, yeah.
and Israel. So it's interesting that his platform is a platform that has, apparently been the go-to. So it's interesting. And I do want to mention some of the other, I mentioned, the privacy, changes and the suppression that they were talking about. But some of the other things that I saw that, gave me concern as well, that I forgot about was on TikTok. It's like your sexual orientation, your religion, all of these type of personal things are now being required to enter to use this app. And my thing is, why do you need to know that for a social media platform where you're just sharing short form videos?
Things that interest you, right?
Yeah. Why do you need all that information on the back end? And again, it's just another, to me, information gathering
to monitor,
to be able to track people, because God forbid someone says something that this administration or the owners of the app don't like. Now you got all these people information. You can go and track these people down, literally. And you have their location, you got their name, you got their their language, their nationality, all of these things.
And I guarantee you, if the government comes asking for it,
they're going to give it up.
They're going to give it to them gladly. You ain't even got to ask. Here it is. I'm going to give you a monthly report of all the stuff that's going on.
And I'm going to flag the people that you want me to flag. I'm just going to put a little tick on them. And if something comes up or something pops up on the feed that might be of interest, we're going to let you know.
It's not a stretch.
We're partners with you in this. And that's what this says to me, that they are partnering. And we've seen it with all of the folks, technocrats who, donated money to this thing, to this administration. And Tim Cook was at the premiere of the Melania movie at the White House, I think yesterday. And I have to say, I am so disappointed in Tim Cook.
They make me not want to upgrade my iPhone.
Right?
Maybe skip another year. You know what?
Like, I love my Apple products, but Tim Apple, my guy.
Bro, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And then he had the nerve to make a comment about what's going on in Minnesota, calling for unity and de-escalation. I'm like, you were just at homeboy's house. You should have talked to him.
And Apple blocked the Ice Block app.
The Ice Block app.
Put it back. If you about it, put it back up there.
Put it back on there.
But
they not. I'm just so disappointed in Tim Cook. I guess that's why they're starting to shift gears. And the guy, I forgot his name just that fast, who was the head of hardware. He's always on the announcements after Tim Cook talks.
Eddie Q, or
no,
the one with the silver hair.
He's brown hair. Crap, what is this guy's name? Brown hair, younger guy. I am completely spacing on this dude's name. But in any event, they're starting to the rumor again. Things talking. He was over hardware, but they just gave him another big piece of the puzzle to control, so that everybody's like, oh, it's just signaling, the shift, that he's the heir apparent to the CEO throne.
Okay.
Crap, I forgot what his name is. Now it's going to bug me. But yeah, so yeah. Fun times, man.
We'll see. This will be an interesting thing, because TikTok is probably, if not the most popular social media app. Craig Federighi, is that the dude's name?
I think it is Craig Federighi.
That's one of the people at the top next to Eddie Q. And this
yes, I think it's Craig. I think it's Craig Federighi. I think that's who it is.
Like I was saying, TikTok is we'll just call it the most popular social media app.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what they do to it, what the United States does to it, and
how they ruin it.
With United States track record, it's up in the air, Jack.
Absolutely. All right. That's going to wrap it up for Second String. We are going to head on into For the Culture. Now, typically in this segment, we talk about, cultural, societal things that's going on. And sometimes the tech and the culture kind of clash. And this is one of those things. I didn't even know this was going on looking for stories for today, this is my first time even hearing about it. So the question is social media a drug? And based on that question, it looks like the courts are trying to decide that. TikTok and Snap made the quick decision to settle just days before a trial started to basically ask that question. Meta is still on the hook, and apparently they're calling this case that has a single plaintiff, a 19-year-old. They're only using the initials KGM. They're saying the nature of this type of lawsuit is being compared to the big tobacco lawsuits of the 1990s. So basically what happened is, like I said, TikTok agreed to settle, of course, in undisclosed terms with the 19-year-old plaintiff, KGM, on Tuesday morning to avoid a public legal battle over its alleged role in social media addiction among minors, just as a jury selection was about to begin in Los Angeles County Superior Court. Also, like I said, Snapchat made their settlement last week, but TikTok took it up right until the very end when they're supposed to start picking a jury for this. So, what's happened now that TikTok and Snapchat have settled, it leaves one huge company, well, technically two, tech giants that are still on the hook for this. That includes Meta, that has Instagram, and Google, who has YouTube. They are still moving forward with as defendants in this case. Mark Zuckerberg is expected to testify in the 6 to 8 week trial, which is the first of hundreds of similar cases and could determine how thousands of lawsuits play out, while experts, like I said, are comparing it to the 1998 tobacco settlement that cost companies billions. Now, the crux of this whole thing is that internally, conversations were going on, and that this trial could expose any of the internal communications documents, conversations, messages from Meta executives that compare Instagram's addictive nature to a drug. So this whole thing, TikTok was like, you know what? We was gonna try and tough it out, but here's a boatload of money to you, 19-year-old kid. Snap was like, we've been seeing the writing on the wall. Here, take this money. But Mark Zuckerberg and YouTube, it appears, are still going to move forward. So it goes to say, what if this is just one case? This isn't a class action. This is a single plaintiff. What does this say for social media companies in general? What does it say for future lawsuits? And if this case, if this plaintiff wins this case, how, I guess, do they start to manage social media if they say, yes, this has addictive properties similar to the way tobacco had addictive properties? But back in the day, big tobacco made it seem cool. They had all these, attractive people. They had, what was it, the camel. They had all of these ways of advertising this essential drug that is highly addictive and leads to all types of health issues. What does this say for, I guess, social media going forward, as far as if this plaintiff wins this case against Meta and YouTube?
Well, a bunch of people are going to sue because money's in the water. Well, a bunch of lawyers are going to convince people to sue, because if companies are already starting to settle and they don't want no parts of it, that signals an opportunity for lawyers, for lawsuits, for class action lawsuits. It's coming, right? These social media companies better fight this hard, and better fight it hard, because all it takes is one case to go through, and that serves as precedent for all the other ones, right? Whether or not social media is a drug, social media is super addictive. Unlike tobacco, unlike some of the other drugs, outside of just feeling good, right? Social media does have it going for it that for all of the negative things it's caused, the addiction in teens and all the things that go along,
Bullying
and
and all that
bullying,
stuff. Yeah.
all the stuff, right? For all that it's got going for it, it's also good stuff, right? People have found their people. They have built uh,
Communities.
businesses. They
Yeah.
have built communities. They have earned income. They use it. We're using it now for the Minneapolis ICE raids, right? How we're finding out about all this information and getting all these angles and can actually dissect stuff in real time is because of social media, right? So I don't know if throw the baby out with the bathwater is a good analogy, but if social media companies do decide to say, you know what, I don't have time for this, or the federal government or the federal courts say, hey, y'all got to turn some of this stuff off, shut it down, minimize it, do whatever you got to do, the consequence to that is it's going to take people's livelihoods. It's going to take our ability to communicate in ways that we could not do in the past. So I think while social media is super addictive, you got to take the good with the bad. Now, if we can figure out how to mitigate the bad while amplifying the good, then all for it, right? But it's going to take, I don't know if it's going to take getting sued for social media companies to be like, let's mitigate the bad and and amplify the positive. They're just gonna be like, we're on to something else. AI, I don't know, right? But I don't know if lawsuits is going to force social media to act right when, like I mentioned, unlike cigarettes is just bad. There's no good that comes from cigarettes, right?
At all.
Alcohol, you can say you have a good time, but DUIs, DWIs, all the anger, all the stuff that comes with it, right?
Waking up sick
far outweighs the positives, right?
Yeah.
It's just socially acceptable, right? So we just, we do it, right? Unlike that, social media, it's like, yeah, there's some terrible things that's happened. People have used social media to do terrible things, but also people have used social media for some dope things.
And it's that meme where the girl drinking kombucha, she's like, and then she's like,
Right. One of those type deals.
Yeah.
So it's not as simple. Comparing social media to hard drugs, cigarettes, things of that nature. It's not a 1-to-1, while addictive, because they're, we've got
kids. Have addictive properties. Absolutely.
I've got kids, my son, he's 9 years old, and he knows YouTube like the back of his hand. Now I've got him on the YouTube. I know, again, being a responsible adult, you don't get access to all of YouTube.
Right.
You get access to the stuff I say you get access to. So
right.
He's got to come to me and say, hey, Dad, this new YouTube channel I want to follow. And I go look at it, and then I have to share the channel with him in YouTube Kids in order for him to watch it. But that don't mean he ain't hooked on the things he does.
He's like,
access to.
I'm waiting for it.
Right.
I'm waiting for it.
Same thing with video games, right?
Yeah.
They try to say video games, you need to get rid of them. Video games are addictive, but is it on the level of like nothing good can come from gaming, same way nothing good can come from drugs. Nothing good can come from drugs, right? While addictive.
Yeah. And I think one of the delineating factors is when it comes to whether cigarettes, drugs, or alcohol, you usually can't do anything until, the person's already, people have already harmed, they're already in it. It's kind of hard going back. And the regulations that you can put on the drugs or whatever the case may be, people can still find ways to get around it. They'll still find ways to get around this. But for social media, because it is a communication property, and we do have communications federal guidelines, there are things that can be put into place to help mitigate some of this. Now, the thing is, do the people who we voted in, whether it be your congressperson, whether it be your senator, whether it be this administration, are they adept at having the conversations and making the changes needed? Those are two separate issues. The first thing is, yes, there can be guardrails put in place to help mitigate some of this. The other part of that is, do we have the people who are capable of doing said first thing,
And
but it can be done.
and not only that, you have to remember, social media for the most part. Now, when and where and how and who you see, that can be controlled. That is being controlled by the algorithm. What you have to remember, social media is user generated content.
Yes.
We are putting that stuff up there. So eventually we are going to have to decide, is that cool? Is that not cool? And not react so
Heavy handed.
voraciously to content on social media that we know is bad. We know, same way with reality TV. We know it's bad. We know it's bad. We know nothing, but I'm going to say that. We know that the images that reality TV portrays overall really is scripted.
It's
and
scripted. It's not reality.
And it's just the stuff that goes is the negative stuff, the fights, the arguments, the talking behind each other's back, all
backstab and all that stuff.
Right. But we watch it because, again, guilty.
It's entertaining.
Guilty. Oh, that's my guilty pleasure. I love some reality TV. Social media is the same way, right?
Yeah.
It's like, ultimately, we going to have to say, we don't want to see that on social media. And the way we do that is by not tuning into that stuff. But again, that's where algorithm comes in, to where it's like it feeds you that stuff. And it's hard to separate reality from what the algorithm is showing you, right? A lot of people think what the algorithm is showing you is reality. And it's up to us to be like, that ain't what is really going on, right?
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, to see if Meta and Google are going to go all the way through this, or if they are going to, do like Snapchat and TikTok and pay this out and then go and say, oh, we have overhauled this system. We have these things in place, this, that, and the third. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because, again, it does have wide range implications. And again, this is just the first case of hundreds, maybe even thousands that are already in the pipeline waiting to see how this case kind of flows. And that's going to kind of inform how they move, whether let's take a payout, let's do our own lawsuit, let's keep going through with it, or let's back down because, how the case didn't go the way we're expecting it. So it's going to be interesting. And they said this is only supposed to be about 6 to 8 weeks. So if it goes forward by April, March, we should kind of have some sort of direction. But again, I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know it was out there. I had heard nothing about this. Right.
Maybe thank these tech companies who own these media outlets.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. That's going to wrap up for the culture. Let's head on into the hookup for our tech tip of the week.
All right. Similar to how last week we were saying, hey, don't do this in email, do this instead. Well, I'm back with another one, but this is for text messaging. So when you get these text messages from these campaigns, from these stores, from these places, from these things that you do, and they put in the bottom, text stop to stop receiving messages. Our first inclination is be like, I don't want to see this anymore. I didn't got what I needed to get, or this is spam. I didn't sign up for this. Stop. You write stop. They really ain't stopping nothing. What they want to do is they want to see if there is a live person behind this phone number. And the way they gauge that is if you type in the word stop. So my hookup for the week is, instead of replying stop to stop spam text messages, or just text messages you don't want to see anymore. I mean, it's not, don't take rocket science. Instead of replying stop, you block and report spam instead. So when you get a message, you can either delete it, or you can delete and report spam. That trains Apple, that trains the carriers, Verizon, T-Mobile, whomever, to say, hey, if you reply, delete, and report spam, and somebody else did delete and report spam. Maybe this is actually spam.
Spam.
And maybe we need to block everybody else from getting these messages. You doing stop is like only, even if it is true and you do stop and then they stop sending to you, that ain't stopping sending to anybody else. But if you're clicking delete and report spam, that's training your device. That's training the carriers to look at any other messages that come from these phone numbers and possibly deleting those as well. So you're doing a service to not only yourself and everybody else by blocking and reporting spam versus just replying stop to stop getting spam text messages.
And I have to say, my unknown messages folder has more messages than my actual messages. And every time I just kind of like get a break, I just go through and mark as unknown, mark as unknown, mark as unknown to kind of get them out of my queue and hopefully to never see them again.
Right. Yep.
All right. With that tech tip, we're going to wrap up the show for this week. Brother Tech, where can the people find you?
Sure, you can find me all over the internet at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH, with the exception of TikTok, because I ain't on there no more. So every place else but TikTok.
And you can find me at Tech Savvy Diva all over the place as well. You can also find this show at Snob West Cast at the same places as well. You can also head on over to our website, snobwestcast.com, where you can comment, you can share, you can support, you can connect with us. Again, all of that over on snobwestcast.com. And with that, we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.